What is going on, everybody? It's the Honolulu Blues Show. I'm your host, Adam Stark. And as always, we're going to keep it popping, keep it rocking and rolling,
Pop, lock, and drop it?
Something like that, I'm trying to keep the intros hip with the new phrases, all that fun stuff. What are you sipping on there, Nick?
A White Claw and a new Surge.
Why I ask is because my brother drinks these like weird energy drinks, and they kind of looked like that can. The blue color threw me off.
I think this might try to be like an energy drink and a White Claw all in one, which I didn't realize it was.
That's like dangerous. That's
super dangerous.
That's like a what do you call it?
It's like a Four Loko.
That's what I'm thinking of. A Four Loko, which a Four Loko is dangerous. It's H.
I think Adam, do you even know what a Four Loko is?
Of course I know what a Four Loko is.
All right.
Yeah, I went to college. I had my college fun.
Oh, but after we were 21. After we were 21, obviously.
Boys. All right. Let's get into some news real quick. This one came right and early, like a few hours ago. Sean Payton retired, and that's not news for the Lions, but that led to a little domino effect. And by that, I mean Aaron Glenn is now being interviewed for the head coaching job for the Saints. The Saints are, I will say, the one thing the Lions do kind of have going for us is the Saints don't have really anything going for them. And the Lions are, looking a little bit better, and Aaron Glenn might be able to have better opportunities next year if he stays around. But, boys, what do you think of Sean Payton leaving, and do you think Aaron Glenn has a real shot?
Julius, lead us off.
I mean, Sean Payton leaving is kind of surprising, but I guess it's not, looking at his age and looking at what has become of the Saints franchise, which for with Drew Brees for about a decade, they were pretty stable down there in the NFC South. Now they're not, so it's not surprising with Payton. But as far as Aaron Glenn, I didn't really think he was going to leave until this news came out. That's when I was like, okay, he has a strong connection in New Orleans. That's where him and DC come from. So it's a strong possibility that connection is enough for them to take a chance on him. There's tons of teams in the NFL right now looking for a head coach. I believe it's 9 now. That's like a third of the league. A third of the league has not even hired a head coach yet. Are looking for one. So,
and the Lions, we got our guy, boys. We do got
our guy. But I mean, as far as Aaron Glenn, if the Saints ended up signing him, that's cool with me because I'm pretty confident in Dan Campbell's. I'm confident in the way he's running things for him to replace Aaron Glenn if we have to on a whim. I'm cool with that.
It would be interesting to see what Dan Campbell does, losing his offensive coordinator and defensive coordinator. I mean, essentially, he didn't lose Anthony Lynn. It was more of a firing / mutual departure. But all in all, you're still replacing 2 more big coaching gigs that you have. So
the more teams that need a head coach, the higher chance Aaron Glenn is gone. The pickings get slim.
Yeah. I think he's has a legitimate chance. We said on last week's episode why I didn't believe he would become an actual NFL head coach. I still stand by that. I haven't changed my opinion in 7 days. I think he'll get, and he's obviously getting an interview. There's a chance he gets a second interview. I don't think he's done enough after being being a defense coordinator for 1 year, a cornerback or a secondary coach for 4 years. I just don't think that's going to be enough for the Saints to pull the trigger on bringing him back. But I get the reasoning why they're bringing him in for an interview. You want to always go with someone who knows the culture already, or, most times, unless you're trying to change the culture, which I don't think the Saints are. I think the Saints are trying to keep the culture that Sean Payton had instilled in that franchise. So I think that's the reason why Aaron Glenn is getting an interview. No, I do not think he gets the job. But if he does get a job, and I tweeted this out, does get the job, the Lions need to do every single thing in the books they can to get Vic Fangio, recently fired from Denver head coach, was the defense coordinator with the Bears. There's talks of him going back to the Bears possibly. honestly, the Lions, if we lose Aaron Glenn, I think it could be a blessing in disguise, which I love Aaron Glenn. That is not a knock on Aaron Glenn, but I think it's a blessing because Vic Fangio reminds me of one of those guys like Dick LeBeau, who's just going to be a defensive coordinator for another 20 or 30 years. He's not going to try to be an NFL head coach again. He's just going to sit there on one team like the Steelers and just coach until he's done. And I would be awesome to me if it would be Detroit and he just stay there with Dan Campbell for 20 years and they build this connection. Because I think they could be a really good comparison. But all of that is mute because I do not think Aaron Glenn is getting that job. But it's good for Aaron Glenn. Good for him getting an interview. I hope the best for him. I truly do. I hope he gets, for his career, I hope he gets a job.
Yeah, the Lions are in, interesting position. It would be kind of funny if the Lions and the Bears did a little Yankee swap in which we got Vic Fangio and the Bears went out and signed Jim Caldwell as their head coach. So Jim Caldwell, are you guys? As of right now, he's the favorite to be the Bears head coach. Do you guys want him to be the Bears head coach? Because for me, I'm like thinking Caldwell, if he got fired from the Lions, he wasn't good enough for us. There's just no way he can, bring out the best Justin Fields and the rest.
I am totally for Jim Caldwell being hired by the Bears. Matter of fact, I think it will be an A+ hire for them to hire Jim Caldwell because based on his staff building history, which is a plus, and his history with the roster, but he's never lost a roster. He literally hasn't. And with the Lions, he's our all-time winningest coach, for God's sakes. I mean, if things would have bumped a few ways, with front office decisions, he got a pretty decent product out of our roster for a few years he was here, and everywhere he goes, he's well respected. I think that would be a great hire for them, but I don't think they're going to hire Jim Caldwell. I don't think so. I think they want Brian Dabble. I think that's who they.
I think they do too, but I think Dabble's. I think he's.
Let me give you a dark horse though. They just signed the GM. Is his name?
Ryan Poles.
Ryan Poles from Kansas City. Hey, there could be the Eric Bieniemy connection. Watch out for that.
Yeah, Jim Caldwell deserves another shot in the NFL. He absolutely deserves another shot in the NFL. I don't want him to go to the Bears because it almost seems to me that the Bears' next head coach is going to be a transition coach. I don't think the Bears are on the up and up. I think, unfortunately, they're on the down and down, as some would say, along with the Packers and the Vikings, who are both over cap or right. I think they're both over cap, actually. So I don't want Caldwell to go to the Bears for that reason. However, Caldwell is notorious for not winning any big game. That is just that's his motto right now, unfortunately. Lost the Super Bowl, to the aforementioned New Orleans Saints. I kind of would be okay with it as a Lions fan. As much as I respect Jim Caldwell and I like him, is it terrible for me to say, like, I think we might be able to beat him, and I think he's kind of one of the easier coaches to beat. He's just gonna be very vanilla. He's gonna be basic. You can beat that. You really can beat that, especially with all the trickery and the hoopla that the NFL is these days. It's not the 1990s NFL. It is the go for it on fourth down at your own 25 in the first quarter because I don't know, you got Justin Herbert, you know what I mean? Because you got Jared Goff, I guess. I don't know. That's why you go for it. But I don't know, so I'm kind of torn. But that's why I just don't want him to be hired by the Bears. But if he is, I'm gonna mark those up as 2 W's. And I'm sorry I have to say that.
Yeah, I don't think Jim Caldwell is a coach that's out for revenge either. I don't think he's a guy that's like, you know what, I'm coming for the Lions. I'm running up the score.
Yeah, he's pretty chill. Yeah,
he's I feel like he'd be like just chill, So, but let's just keep talking about some former Detroit Lions because they always just seem to be in the limelight, and that is Matthew Stafford. How can we go without talking about good old Matthew Stafford winning not 1, but 2 playoff wins, topping the Lions as a franchise. And Stafford did that in a whopping 7 days. So hats off to him. I'm, happy for the guy. Glad he's enjoying it. But boys, are you in it for Stafford to win the Super Bowl, or are you still hoping for that best possible pick?
I want Julius to lead us off. I think I know his answer, and I just want to hear.
Yeah. Listen, I'm getting jumped on Twitter by the Stafford groupies. Okay, I'm getting jumped on Twitter because I have the gall to want what's best for the Lions, the team that I have devoted my life's fandom to, over an individual that don't play for us anymore. I'm sorry. No, I don't want to see. I'm salty, okay? He didn't do nothing with us in 12 years. Happy for the guy. I'm not going to be mad at him. It's great to see. I mean, I predicted it. I mean, I was like, this is something Stafford does. That comeback against Tampa, that is something he could have did with us. If put in the right position with the right team, which we never provided, obviously. It's our fault. It's his fault. It's everybody's fault, but it don't matter. And I'm not about to root for a guy that does not play for me no more, especially if we got their first round pick. Okay? I'm putting that over all else. I don't care if it's 3 positions, literally. I don't care if it's two positions of 2 picks on the draft position board. I'll take that, all right? I'll take 29 over 32, all right? So happy for Stafford, but I'm rooting against the Rams.
I feel that, Julius. And part of me is like, the Lions have just had some weird luck where what if like Drake London gets picked at 28 and we take, David Bell, whoever, Treylon Burks is picked at 28, then we take Drake London and London's just a bust. And Treylon Burks is this superstar.
Adam. You got Rams Twitter. Literally, Rams Twitter has anointed Lions Twitter is like their little helper cheerleader elves. They're comparing them to the elves from Lord of the Rings when they saved the day in the march or whatever. I forgot what it was. Listen, we're Lions fans, okay? We need to worry about the Lions. All right, we're not about to join the Rams in rooting for the Rams. I'm not going to let Lions Twitter do that to themselves. And that's what half of it, I would say 50% is doing right now. Maybe 30.
I really don't know if the difference of 29 and 32 is that much.
That's
like at this point, had he lost to the Bucs.
You're right, it's not.
Had he lost to the Bucs, and that's the difference of like 24 and 32, that's a way different story.
Yes.
But golly, man, how many we all saw Stafford get the ball with 13 seconds or whatever it was and be like, yeah, no, we got the like Stafford. Not even we. I do say that because I just think of Stafford as my quarterback. You knew Stafford was getting that, and then he puts that bomb to Cup, and it's like the hardest thing to be like, yay. But dude, like, whoo, man.
It's a weird
You
deal.
scored 1 touchdown in the first quarter with our best Detroit Lions team ever.
Exactly.
And never scored again. Not one.
Like, the dude wasn't perfect. He was not perfect.
He's perfect right now, though, isn't he?
That's fine. He's perfect for the Rams, not for me. I still see imperfect Stafford when I see him. That's what I see. He could come around next game against the Niners and throw 2 pick sixes. This is who he is.
The Niners beat him twice.
Yeah.
This is true. Or he could do what he did against Tampa. Do it all over again against San Francisco because that's who he is as well. We know who he is. I'm not a Rams fan.
Yeah. I kind of like the idea of taking over SoFi, though, as Lions fans and just showing, like, full-on backing them up. Just like, dude, go get it, man. I'll catapult you. It's not even going to help me. In fact, it'll hinder me.
Guess what, Nate? I want to see that horde of Lions fans at SoFi Stadium. I want to see them witness a massacre of the Rams. I want to see the Rams lose by 30, and they talking about how the Lions won the trade, and Stafford remembers who we are, that we exist. That's what I want.
I'm definitely all right. I'm definitely all right with Stafford losing. I really, really am. Like, he got his playoff wins. The dude deserved it.
2 of them.
2 of them in 1 week. He had more playoff wins in 1 week than he ever did with the damn Detroit Lions, and that was for 12 years. That's sad. It's very sad.
And he gets sadder the more he wins.
But I'm all right with him losing now. He doesn't need to go win a championship. I'm all right with him getting maybe a couple more playoff wins throughout his career, never getting a championship, and the Lions winning the trade when it's all said and done. Let's go Niners. Are we Niners fans then, boys? Is that what we're doing?
I don't know. I don't
We got a Niners-Chiefs Super Bowl right now. That's what I have. And I've had that since the beginning of the playoffs.
The rematch of 2020?
Mm-hmm.
The Super Bowl that set COVID off?
Yeah, honestly.
I got the winner. I had the winner of that Kansas City Buffalo divisional. Honestly, I had it circled on the bracket. That was going to be the Super Bowl winner. So
maybe that's what we need. So COVID started just a month after the Super Bowl of the Chiefs versus the Niners, and what we need is to round all the way back to the Chiefs and Niners. The next day we wake up after the Super Bowl and COVID just gone, and that's what we need. I have a feeling. I think you might be right, Julius.
The real revenge tour is what Jimmy Garoppolo in San Francisco is doing right now. Not what Green Bay. Shout out Green Bay for choking in the playoffs again. Shout out Aaron Rodgers. Sayonara. $40 million under the cap. Sayonara. But this is the revenge tour, San Francisco.
Aaron Rodgers is not coming back. There's no way he comes back to Green Bay.
Trade or retire.
Well, all right. Before I get, I'm going to say my one little quick point. Okay, you guys know the one commercial. It's like the NFL commercial where they're all like, "Who's got my back? You got my back. Who's got my back? We get," Well, it leads off with Aaron Donald going, "Who's got my back?" And I want all the Stafford truthers to make a collage saying, "We got your back," and wearing a Matthew Stafford Lions jersey.
Oh man, are you Adam? You jumping around like that guy from Twitter?
Oh hell no, that was
extreme.
I'm with Julius. That was a little cringe.
That is extreme.
Listen, this dude, he possibly has romantic feelings for Matthew Stafford, obviously, and so I mean, it's okay. That's not normal. That's not a normal thing you see.
I did get a little emotion though when they showed like him running down screaming at his offensive lineman. You do immediately think
because you have flashbacks.
Yeah.
You have flashbacks of jumping around in your living room. Like, you jumping around with him. We used to do that. We did that like 20 times.
It's like watching the new Spider-Man movie. You know what I mean? It's just all these nostalgic feelings from when you were young and you're like, yeah, Stafford, Riley, get your ass down here.
I knew as soon as it was, I was like, they gave Stafford 43 seconds. That's a long time for Stafford.
Oh, that was way too long. That's how long
I've seen him do that with the Lions several times, bro. Several times.
So now we're at the point of, boys, we're really about to see Eminem rap to Matthew Stafford at a halftime show saying, "You got one shot, one opportunity," pumping Stafford up to win a damn Super Bowl. So
$50 right now. Does Eminem sing "Lose Yourself"? I don't think he does.
That's
$50 on the table.
I think not like the full song, but
not the full song, but even just a clip.
I
think he might actually, because
I'm gonna say no.
What if he did like "Welcome to Detroit"? Like
that would be great.
I will cry. I swear to God, I will cry. I will cry.
Have you guys seen the trailer for that? Badass.
It was pretty cool. It was pretty cool.
I like at the very end. It's got like Kendrick Lamar coming up with a bike, Mary J. Blige coming up in the car, and then Eminem walking off the plane. Eminem's like, "Yeah, everyone else is from Cali. Look at this Detroit boy walking up. Don't worry about me." It's like, let's go. That's my boy. I love it. I can't wait. It's gonna be a great halftime show.
Absolutely. But right before we get into our grade show, let's talk Packers choking. And Nick, you kind of mentioned this. You're confident. You don't think Rodgers coming back? And personally, I don't think so either. And it's a weird situation because we've seen things where, the Packers could throw the bag at Rodgers, like a $100 million 2-year extension, fully guaranteed, or $75 million guaranteed, something ridiculous like that, which when you get that much money, it's really honestly hard to turn down. We've seen it numerous amount of times where players pick the money over, the desire to win. So I could see that route. But what Rodgers said, where he said, "I'm going to make my decision before free agency. I respect the team enough," that hints at that retirement's a legit possibility for him. So, Nick, I kind of know what you're thinking. Julius, are you thinking Rodgers is out for the count or what?
Rodgers out for the count. Listen. Rodgers is out for the count with Green Bay.
Yes.
It is over in Green Bay. This was the last chance for Green Bay and Aaron Rodgers to work things out. Green Bay is going to go forward. They'd be lucky if he don't retire, because if he don't retire, they can do some kind of trade. If he wants to play somewhere else, they can get something back for him, maybe, and just not walk away. But listen, they're going into the Packers are going into a dark era, boys. They're going to a dark era. They $42 million under the cap. They have several veteran players that they have to either release or trade because they can't afford, especially on defense, especially if they want to keep their young good players like Rashawn Gary and Jair Alexander. If they want to even consider signing those guys, they just got to cut ties with at least 6 or 7 high-priced veterans, the Smith brothers, freaking several players along.
And then there's no way. Yeah, they can't really tag Devontae Adams because they'll be even more cap held the next year. So
they're going to go into a rebuild and just hope that Jordan Love is the guy and hope that Matt LaFleur is the guy. So at this point, it's a great position to be in if you're a Lions fan, even if you're a Bears or Vikings fan, to see that the Packers are this. I mean, I can't remember going into an offseason thinking about the Packers at this vulnerable of a roster stage, an identity stage, as this offseason. I can't remember.
Real quick, Nick, it almost gives me when the Bills and Josh Allen started to slowly emerge, and then we saw Brady throw that interception against the Titans in the final game, and everyone was pretty sure that this was the end of the Brady-Belichick era. And that's kind of what I'm feeling with the Lions and Packers right now, in which we've gone through, a hard Rodgers-Packers era, and the Lions seem like we're on the up and up, and
we just don't got Josh Allen.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
Far off, in fact, very far off from having a Josh Allen. But yeah, dude, I'm 100% positive Aaron Rodgers is not coming back to Green Bay. He whether he has to retire and come back or just the Packers move on from him with a good deal, which I don't think is going to happen. I feel like they're going to try to prolong it, kind of like the Deshaun Watson almost. Though Rodgers has more leverage than Watson has, it's kind of going to be something where Rodgers might just have to throw in the Brett Favre it. You know what I mean? We've already seen it. That's just why history has a way of repeating itself. And I just really do think that that's what we're going to end up seeing. However, Aaron Rodgers is not gone, but he is gone from Green Bay. This was he literally came out and said it by posting that this was the last dance season, and then went and got just wally-lopped in at home. And this is the thing. This is why he only has one Super Bowl, and I stand by this. Aaron Rodgers would have multiple Super Bowls had he played in New Orleans or anywhere that's a dome. He plays in this crazy stadium that is built for rushing and defense in January. Yet Aaron Rodgers is one of the best quarterbacks. So what you're doing is you're taking and then the Green Bay Packers do not go out of their way to get better players around him. They go out of the way to get draft backup tight ends in the 3rd round before a second wide receiver. That is just what they do. You're going to leave Aaron Rodgers out to dry at home in Lambeau in negative 10 degrees, which I can promise you next January, going to be just as cold. And the following January, just as cold. And I could go on and on because that's what happens in the Midwest. It gets cold in January.
That's
so it's ridiculous that they are going to leave Aaron Rodgers on this team that is in this stadium that has to rely, like the San Francisco's play football. That is how the Green Bay Packers should be playing football right now. San Francisco, North California team, was built more for Lambeau Field in January than the Green Bay Packers, who practice there every day. It is ridiculous, and Aaron Rodgers knows it. He is going, and he's going to do exactly what Tom Brady did, who had the same situation in New England. Luckily, Bill Belichick knew how to cope with that, but he's going south. He's going to New Orleans. Aaron Rodgers will be the Saints quarterback. I can guarantee it. That's just what's going to happen. He is going south. They're going to get some crazy coach that Aaron Rodgers wants, the quarterback coach for the Packers right now. Bring him along. It's good. That's what's and Aaron Rodgers is going to run the show.
Well, Nick, you alluded to history repeating itself, and you know Brett Favre and retiring, and then coming out of retirement. Well, let's just say Aaron Rodgers retires and comes back out of retirement to sign with an NFC rival, not just an NFC rival, NFC North rival, Detroit Lions.
Bah,
And he
I don't
wants
like
to
it.
show up Tom Brady that he's the best 12 of all time, that he's the GOAT, that Tampa Bay, winning a championship for Tampa Bay wasn't the best thing you could do. Winning a championship for the Detroit Lions is the best thing you could do. So, calling it now. Aaron Rodgers, out of just despair and disgust of the Packers, joins forces with the Detroit Lions, leads us to at least NFC championship appearance, maybe not Super Bowl.
I couldn't handle it. I'd be so sad.
Would
I'd
you
quit
trade the
team.
second round pick to the Packers for Aaron Rodgers?
Yes.
Oh,
Hands down. I have to. You just have to. Nick, you said it yourself. We play in a dome.
What do you think Aaron Rodgers would do with Amon-Ra St. Brown, TJ Hawkinson, DeAndre Swift,
Don't get me excited.
whoever else we add in free agency and the draft via receiver? No,
I do not
but
want
listen,
Aaron
he's
Rodgers.
hated in
I do
Detroit.
not want Aaron Rodgers to be my starting quarterback for my first Super Bowl win. That would
You'll
be
be
so
lit though. Tell me you wouldn't be lit if the Lions did that. If they got Aaron Rodgers this offseason. The whole fan base would be lit.
I don't know. I can't say I would be. I truly can't say that I would be. I don't know. I hate Aaron Rodgers. I don't like him as a human being, like as a person. Like I don't like that guy.
I listen, honestly, let me admit something live right now. I used to be just like you, Nick. I used to despise Aaron Rodgers, the person. I used to think he was the biggest jerk. He was an idiot. All he could do, he was just fancy with the ball. God blessed him with a great quarterback acumen. That's it. But listen, I don't too much mind the guy now. Now that he's doing all these interviews and stuff, and I'm kind of getting an insight into his mind, into his world, into the way he thinks about this and the way he thinks about that, how he reacts to this, how he reacts to that. I think he's not going to retire. I think he's going to keep playing. I don't think he's going to come to Detroit, but
He might have to retire to get out of Green Bay, but he'll be back next season, or this season.
Yeah, he'll
He's not.
finagle his way out of it.
Yeah.
when he told the Bears fans, "I own you, I effing own you,"
And he still could with Detroit.
There was something about that I was like, wow, like imagine your quarterback, MVP level, just telling the rival fan base this thing, just like it was awesome. It was an awesome thing. I actually wouldn't mind him being a Lions quarterback, but chances of it happening are minimal.
Hey man, if it does, the only reason he would come here is because if he wins a championship for the Detroit Lions, that's saying something that,
I mean,
a lot
Favre
of
went to Minnesota. So you never know.
Exactly, yeah. He betrayed, went inside, NFC North division foes, but enough about the Packers, boys. Let's chit chat about our good old Detroit Lions and talk about the good grades we actually had, because I was grading my guys, our team, and boys, I didn't flunk anyone. I had some solid grades. Everyone passed. And if we look at the GPA, boys, we're definitely making it into Michigan. I think we got a Michigan type GPA here. Not Harvard Ivy League, but definitely Michigan. So
That's hilarious.
Let's start off with the head honcho himself, Brad Holmes, the man. Julius, I'll let you lead this one off. What's your grade for him, and why, I guess?
I gave Brad Holmes a B+ as his first season's grade. And the reason I didn't give him anything in A territory is because I don't give any first season GM an A, because it's just too early to see the effects of a general manager's construction of the team, construction of the staff, how he builds the culture. You start to see it solidify in the second, third season. So But based off his first year draft and first year free agency and some of the moves he made, his first year draft, obviously, Panay Sewell, Amon-Ra St. Brown were hits. Alim McNeil was a serviceable starter. You saw some development. Levi O is still, we still got hope for him. It's, he's not a total bum, but he didn't break out in any way. So his first draft, I feel like, was like above average because he hit on 2 big ones. So, but we'll see with the others. He had undrafted free agents, made some excellent choices there with Jerry Jacobs and AJ Parker and all those guys. So I gave him a B plus. I think he did pretty good his first season. Signing Josh Reynolds, I'm sorry, in the middle of the season to boost Jared Goff. That was a good move. He didn't do much with all the dead cap that we're absorbing. But hey, he's about to have a chest full of tools and weapons to utilize to mold the Lions into a winner. Okay, so I'm excited. I gave him a B plus first season. B plus. Probably went off too much on just Brad Holmes, but B plus.
That's all right, Julius. And then real quick, so I don't know how you guys did your grading, but you kind of have to. How I graded it is if I looked at the player, he was given a C off the bat. And then it was my expectations going up or my expectations going down. So
it's like how my grandma does tipping. She's like, I'll give you 20% to start, but it could go up and it could go down, But no, that is exactly how I did mine too.
Okay.
Average is C,
Because obviously, like Sewell, he has more talent than, some of the other guys we'll talk about. But Brad Holmes, Nick?
I also gave a B plus. I liked a lot of his draft picks. There were a couple that were iffy, i.e. Levi O. Though his free agency, I thought he hit on a lot of kind of darts with Anzalone, Khalif Raymond. Josh Reynolds was huge, you alluded to. I thought that was a huge signing that literally may have got us or helped us get our first, second, and third win. Without him, I do not know if we get those victories. So that was huge. Jamal Williams was a huge signing for the fan base. You knew you were in a rebuilding and you need someone who's going to bring positive energy to your team on a daily basis. He did have some swings and misses with Brashard Perryman. That was one of the worst signings I've ever seen in my life. Tyrell Williams gets injured week 1. I get that, but still, we got to do better. And there was a third one that I cannot remember right now. But ultimately, I do think he succeeded by drafting Amon-Ra St. Brown. It's way too early to kind of figure anything out, but him drafting Amon-Ra St. Brown and the way he projected up, that gets you a B plus in my book. So well done, Brad Holmes.
And you know what? Amon-Ra, that's good enough to give me an A minus for Brad Holmes. I think just above a B plus was enough. I like the B plus, but you also forgot Charles Harris too, Nick, who 7.5 sacks, 2 forced fumbles. Only 1 of 4 defenders did that this year. So he was another great signing. And just the fact that he got Amon-Ra where he got him at and, didn't go too early, didn't wait too long. It was like just right. It was like the Goldilocks and the 3 Bears story. We got the perfect porridge.
and Julius alluded to earlier, Jerry Jacobs. And AJ Parker. Great undrafted free agents.
Those are, little diamonds in the rough. So for me, A minus, but yeah, like you said, he did have a couple of misses in Brashard Perryman, and I won't really write off Tyrell Williams because concussion, that's just the injury, which is tough. But Kadero Hodge, that was another kind of iffy one. Making the trade for Trinity Benson, I know we'll get a comp pick, but still, you get what I'm saying. But for me, an A minus. I think that was about the highest I went with most of my guys, actually, except for one. I had a little higher than the A minus. But Brad Holmes, man, compared to what we've seen, I think he's in the A category so far.
Yep.
Next up, were you about to say something?
Nothing. I was just going to say right on.
All right. Next up, we got Dan Campbell, the big man in town. I'll kick it off. I gave Dan Campbell a solid B. I mean, he wasn't perfect. He had his ups and he had his downs. But we got to be honest. He had some rookie mistakes where you just wanted to like wring his neck, where you're like, what are you doing, dude? And I can't remember exactly which game or what moment, but there was like it was the fourth down. We were losing by like 6 or 7 points with like 3 minutes left. And we decided to kick a field goal. And then in hindsight, it like ended up working out for us because I think when we kicked that's what it was, the Vikings game. We kicked the field goal and then they threw the interception right after. But in the moment, you should have went for that to tie the game up. Not even know if it's the Vikings game, but it was something like that where he made a little rookie mistake and then it was kind of covered up later in the end because we finished strong or something. But all in all, he was 3-13-1, so it's hard to get an A or even B plus ranking when you only win 3 games. But a B grade for our coach first year, I'm 100% happy with that.
I like him a lot more than I graded him. I gave him a C plus, and you start with the C, like we alluded to, and I expected 3 wins from this team, and he gave me 3 wins and a tie, so he gets a plus. He did not exceed expectations. We had a really crappy team, but we had a 3-win team. He hit 3 wins. He didn't really do much. He showed that he has a lot of cojones to go for it so much on 4th down. We like that. I like that. There's also times I don't like that. And I do think we need to just get the field goal in certain situations and keep tacking on points. Dan Campbell was successful sometimes, unsuccessful sometimes, kept us competitive in a lot of games, which is awesome. But again, ultimately, he didn't really exceed expectations. Now, he has me believe it, and he has me excited. And just because I give him a C plus doesn't mean he can't become an A student. I want him to be. But he didn't reach it right now. Right now, he's an average coach who won 3 games and finished with the 2nd worst record in the NFL. I don't care about the roster.
See, I kind of side with you on that, Nick. But here is where my counterpoint comes in. If we're just to look at these last 6-8 weeks, you think he gets in that B range?
Yes. If I just graded on the second half of the season, he probably would be like a B minus.
And that's where I had him at as a B because he was a coach that I did see him improve and learn from his mistakes. So he's a guy that I'm confident in that, yeah, I think we're going to see some other types of weird mistakes next year. But by year 3, 4, I think he's going to be a pretty well-rounded head coach.
Julius, we were talking about Dan Campbell.
Oh, that's right.
Oh, yeah, I got you. I was listening. Dan Campbell, I was impressed with all season. And let me just explain myself real quick. It was like watching a baby T-Rex and watching him grow into a big T-Rex in the head coaching realm. Like he developed one major thing I always look back on is when he took over the play calling duties from Anthony Lynn. That's such a major move for a rookie head coach with a winless team to take over this. Anthony Lynn, well-respected guy. I mean, he had our running offense churning. It wasn't clicking with Goff. Dan Campbell just take the playbook. And from that point forward, you see our offense get better and better every game to the point where we were scoring enough points to win with our bend, don't break defense, which we're developing all these young pieces. So overall, at the end of the season, it's another key for me. He has the total respect and admiration of the entire organization already and most of the fan base. Like he's been here already and he's already been winning and he just had a 3-win season. So I put a lot of weight into the way he's viewed just after one season. Matt Patricia didn't have this optimism after one season. Jim Caldwell didn't have this. Jim Caldwell, that was a different thing. That's what Stafford and such post Stafford era, So I give Dan Campbell a B, solid B.
I like it. Yeah, me and Julius and on the B's. Nick wrapping up with a C plus. On to the players. Let's start off with Jared Goff, the quarterback of the team. And was it a roller coaster for Jared Goff? Man, it seemed like this was a tale of two halves for the guy. But honestly, it kind of was expected if you look at it in hindsight and kind of look at the season from now. Because in the beginning of the year, he was playing with a full new team. He had a beat up offensive line. There were games where Sewell was playing left tackle. Decker wasn't even, active until I want to say like week 8 or 9 or something way late. But it was tough for him. And we have seen that Goff, when he's pressured, he's just got off the quarterback. He's terrible. But when he is protected and safe, he's not bad. He's a decent quarterback. So the more we kept him protected, which was the second half of the season, the better he got. So for me, I kind of did a tale of two halves. And the first 9 weeks, I honestly gave him an F. I thought it was just pretty bad. But the last 8 weeks, I gave him like a C plus, B minus. And overall, I would go a solid C. And it was kind of what I expected in the end with Jared Goff. About 3 wins, 3,200 pass yards, 19 touchdowns, and 8 interceptions. So it was a bumpy start at first, but it kind of panned out in the end.
Julius?
I give Jared Goff a C, a solid C over for the season. I agree with a lot of what you said, Adam, in that the first half of the season was so putrid that I wanted him to be cut and benched. I remember that feeling is still raw. That I didn't just forget about that he was like the 38th ranked quarterback in the league at one point. His statistics, his yards per average was like ranked 43rd. But anyways, it was absolutely horrible. But like I said, when Dan Campbell took over the play calling, kind of opened things up, Jared Goff settled in, and he was good enough to win with. He was. So this is what I'm going to say. I'm going to give him a C, but I'm interested now. I'm not like if we ended up releasing him or trading him or getting rid of him, drafting his replacement right away, I wouldn't be surprised, whatever. But I am interested to see if the Lions really want to give him another season as a starting quarterback week 1 next season, Jared Goff, see if he can, if what he settled into last season carries over. So I'm going to give him a solid C.
I went with a solid D minus. And
there you go, low Nick.
Was an F until he beat Arizona and Green Bay. Not just one of the two. Still would have been an F had he lost one of those 2 games. But he won both. He gets a D minus. Second in the NFL in clean pocket completion percentage. That's awesome. 14th in the NFL in play action completion percentage. That's pretty good. Below average in every other stat known to man. 25th in the NFL in air yards. 25th in the NFL in completed air yards. 20th in the NFL with 19 passing touchdowns. The dude couldn't hit 20 passing. Stafford rolls out of bed with 20 touchdowns a game. I'm not used to this change. 31st in the NFL in pressured completion percentage. God forbid a fly comes flying at Jared Goff while he's in the pocket. The dude's chucking it away. Doesn't matter if it's 4th down. He sees that inchworm coming at him. No, he's out. I can't stand Jared Goff. I do not believe in him. He gets a D minus, but he's not failing. He does pass.
I will say, play a little devil's advocate for our boy Jared Goff. Last 5 weeks for him, he had 11 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. First 7 weeks, he had 8 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. So we did see a trend of him kind of settling into the Lions and getting better. So I'm with Julius, and I kind of do want to see at least another 6-8 games or what so. But, man, I agree, Nick. It could get ugly fast, and we could see the exact same thing we saw last year and be in the position of we already knew this, so why'd we try it again? Moving on, let's talk about a guy who's definitely going to get a good grade from all of us, and that's DeAndre Swift. I'll let one of you guys lead this up. Nick, you take it away first.
I gave DeAndre Swift a B. There's an injury bug with DeAndre Swift, and it is not going away. It is not going away. So I'm kind of nervous about that. When he's on the field, he was electric. 5th in the NFL for running backs in yards created. So after the first tackler, he ended up having 869. I think that's extremely impressive, elusive. You know what I mean? The first tackler can't bring him down. You need to bring the whole team to take down DeAndre Swift. 4th most running back receptions, 62. 5th most running back receiving yards, 452. 2nd best in yards created per touch, as I alluded to. He only had 4 goal line carries. I want to see him get more moving forward. That's not on him. That's on the offense, obviously. But that's just something I wanted to point out. I want to make sure he gets more goal line carries. That dude needs to be touching the ball. I don't care if it's on the 1 yard line, on their 1 yard line, or our 1 yard line. Give it to DeAndre Swift. He is electric. He does not get an A. Had he not got injured, I would have gave him an A, but he did get injured. Finished with 800 rushing yards,
Yeah,
600
it was like
receiving
600
yards.
rushing yards, 400 receiving yards. I actually have it right here.
That's not a lot.
617 rushing yards, 151 attempts, and 5 rushing touchdowns. And then he had 62 catches for 452 yards and 2 receiving touchdowns.
Barely over 1,000 total yards. I don't like that.
That's a good point, Nick. And, I didn't really factor his injury bug into my grading. So perhaps I will. And I'm going to bump him down from an A- to a B+. And I had him at A- because he just showed that he was legit. He had that little screen pass where he took it 70 yards to the house. I forget whichever game he came in and played it was the game Dan Campbell was saying, oh, we're going to get Swift back. He looks great. He's going to be playing a bunch. And then he played 2 snaps. Well, one of the 2 snaps was right before halftime, and it was like a 30-yard check down or handoff or something good. And it was just reassurance of, this dude's legit. So for me, I think he's the best running back since Barry. I'm excited to watch him. But yeah, Nick, the injury bug does kind of concerns me. But honestly, let me ask you this. Would you rather have a guy that gives you an on and off full season, or would you rather have a guy that gets you consistently 13, 14 games? So, for example, would you rather have him get 17 for 2 years and then 14, then, 15, then 17 again? Or would you rather just have a consistent 14, 14, or 13,
I'll take A. Give me any full season.
Fair enough. Julius, what are you grading Swift?
I'm gonna give Swift also a B. He's a weapon when he is on the field, and he's an Alvin Kamara type weapon where if you just gotta scheme him into a space, and he could just bust off for 70 yards out of nowhere, or on a screen, or on a draw play. I do think he did pretty well with the injuries we had to the O-line with Decker and Ragnow. But the injuries is just you got to be on the field. I mean, he's not giving us Kerryon Johnson vibes yet, but we're not totally confident that, if this dude don't get hit hard one time, he's going to be out the game, So if we can get a 14 or 15 game season out of Swift and over 1,000 yards next year, it go a long way into me believing that, this is a guy that could help us, win, or if not, running backs are a dime a dozen, as I always say. But when he was on the field, he was our best offensive weapon for the most part until Amon-Ra St. Brown became the sun god extraordinaire in the last 4 weeks of the season.
I'm telling you, with those 3 healthy, Hockenson, Amon-Ra, and Swift, those are some legit weapons. That
we're going to add to it, bro. We need to add to it. If we add to it, then we're talking business.
And yeah, those are the weapons that could make any kind of quarterback look good. And by that, I mean Jared Goff, in which, he had Kupp, Woods, and there was one, Brandon Cooks, right? Yeah, he was in that grouping. But yeah, Goff usually had a solid set of receivers. I'm not, knocking the Lions receivers, although they weren't the best. But if we could get Amon-Ra to his, peak year 2, which we kind of seeming like we're going to have, and we get, maybe a rookie wide receiver, or we go out and make a good free agent signing because there's a plethora of, solid free agent wide receivers. So it's going to be interesting. Let's round up with our next running back, Jamal Williams. His was interesting. He did get injured. The injury bug was kind of concerning because Jamal did miss more than I kind of expected. And although it was kind of overshadowed by Craig Reynolds and we didn't really miss his absence a whole lot, it would have been nice to, have him play a full 16 games. But I will say, had he been healthy the entire season, I'm not so sure we'd get Craig Reynolds or even see him play. So I guess some good came out of this. But for me, I'm going like a solid C+. I think it was maybe just a little bit better than what we expected. I think his best presence was, the locker room, the vibes, the fan, bringing in the fans to the culture and getting the culture back together, which honestly is an important thing for, a team. You're muted, Nick. You're pulling the Julius.
Yes, I got to pull the Julius. All right, you got to do it at least once. I actually think that the importance of him bringing the fans into the game was so important. I gave him a B+. I thought I was at the Los Angeles Rams game in SoFi when he was the only Lion out there pregame throwing the ball around for 30, 45 minutes with the fans. He did it every game in Detroit, every game outside of Detroit. That is unbelievable. He didn't have the stats to back it up. I don't have a lot on him. Great teammate, great Lion, great with the fans, equals B+. Average 6.8 defenders in the box per rush attempt, which is the 9th most for all running backs, which is kind of a random odd stat. Finished with a 48.3 run blocking efficiency rating, 20th best running back in the NFL. I'll take that. Couple off stats, not much more to go on, but Jay Will's just a great teammate. I'm not going to be sad. He's here for one more year, so we get him next year.
Exactly. Julius?
I gave him an A-. The only reason I didn't give him an A was because, he missed a few games and he wasn't like Craig Reynolds really bit into his his role there for a minute. And I think honestly his role is at danger of losing next season to Craig Reynolds or some other running back, because we see this with running backs all the time, especially older ones, or whatever. But he's a great guy, so I gave him an A-. He was great at what he was signed to do.
Fair enough. All right, next man up, we have TJ Hockenson. Hockenson, he showed that he can be the dude, but then he was inconsistent sometimes. By that, I mean he completely got shut down against Pittsburgh, and I don't want that to happen. He literally had one target the entire game, and I don't know if it was just Devin Bush guarding him, Minka Fitzpatrick, or what. But for a guy his caliber, he should not be shut down by anyone. So that kind of knocked his grade down a bit. But all in all, I give Hockenson a B. He had a huge catch in the Vikings game that helped us get our first win. He did have 4 games where he had over 8 catches. So overall, a solid season. If he would have been healthy full season, probably would have been a little bit higher. But as of now, I'm going B.
I went with a B-. A few reasons why I got there. Second time in his career, only playing 12 games. Less receptions this year and yards than last year, though it was granted 4 less games. But still, I don't like to see regression like that. Only 4 touchdowns. However, first in the NFL in contested catch rates for tight ends, which is outstanding. Doesn't matter who's on him, he'll catch it, 73.3%. And at first in the NFL in routes run per team pass play, 85.1%. So he ran more routes per the Lions passing the ball, percentage-wise, more than any other tight end in the NFL. And 25.6% of Goff's air yards went to TJ Hockenson, which is the 3rd most air yards share for a tight end in the NFL. I love Hockenson. I want to see him healthy. And next year, I want to see 16 games, and I want to see him break the 1,200 receiving yards mark. This 600, 700 ain't doing it for me. We drafted him 8th overall. Do better. That's why you get a B-.
Julius.
I got a solid B actually down for TJ Hockenson. Injuries, like I said, for quite a few players already is major with that. But Hawkinson was good, but he could have been better. Like and where we drafted him at, like we need him to be elite. So I don't think he's elite yet. I wouldn't say he's elite yet. He still has hope of being that way though. But so I think next year is crucial. Next year is crucial. So we'll see. I gave him a B though.
Yeah, I will say, Hawkinson, yeah, I think B minus is pretty fair. Next year though, this is the year 4, and that's kind of when the tight ends start to break out. We saw Mark Andrews. He had his, big season, 100 receptions, 1,300 yards, went absolutely berserk after having 500 his first year, 850 his second year, then 700 his third year. And Hawkinson, 360 his first year, 720 his second year, 580 his third year. So not exactly the same, but he didn't go ballistic until, the 4th year. So I'm still going to give Hawkinson some time. I still think he could blossom into this player that we, can see. But all in all, not in the A range just yet. But you know who is in the A range, boys? Amon-Ra, A+. St. Brown. That's why I gave him an A+. I had to. He was making history. Anytime you're making history, even if it's for the Lions because they don't have much franchise stats, it's still stupendous. He did something that Calvin Johnson didn't do. Didn't start, but he had 8 receptions in a row of, I want to say 5 or 6 games or 7 games. I don't know. It was ridiculous, but I know Calvin Johnson did not do that as a rookie. And although Calvin did great things, this is Amon-Ra starting faster than Calvin Johnson. I'm not saying he's going to be better or anything like that, but boy, oh boy, I was not expecting anything remotely like this. I was just hoping he would be a solid dude, and he has turned out to be a legit weapon. So Amon-Ra, I just added a couple pluses after the Ra, so I'm giving an A+.
I went with an A. I'm going to list off a ton of stats real quick. 6 most snaps out of the slot. Did we know that? 488 snaps out of the slot. 11th in the NFL in yards after catch. I love to see that. 6th best catch percentage of all wide receivers in the entire NFL. 6th best. That's crazy. 75% of the balls thrown to him, he caught. 9th best in the NFL in contested catch rate for receivers, 61%. 13 most receptions in the NFL. 2nd most rookie receptions behind Jalen Waddle. 4th most rookie receiving yards behind Chase Waddle and Devontae Smith, all first rounders. Only rookie to catch 8+ balls in 6 straight games ever in the NFL. Most receptions ever by a rookie drafted in the 4th round or later in the history of the NFL. That is a crazy stat to me. No other 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, and back in the day, they used to go to like 13 rounds. No rookie ever caught as many yards, right? Was it yards? As Amon-Ra St. Brown. A, well done.
Most certainly. Julius.
I got an A+ just based off his draft position alone. Just being a 4th round pick and doing what he did for us. It's an A+. I mean, I couldn't ask for anything better. I mean, those stats alone. I mean, Nick is killing it with the stats for every player, and Amon-Ra's stats are probably the most impressive thus far as what he was capable of doing in his first season. A+.
Absolutely. It's nice having at least one guy, hit the A+ range for all of us. I believe that's the first consensus A player for us. So hats off to Amon-Ra. But I believe this next guy might have a consensus A for all of us, and that's Penei Sewell. I give him an A-. He looked phenomenal at right tackle, which seems like is going to be his position. I know a lot of people were, saying put him in left tackle, trade Decker, yada, yada, yada. But he's done perfectly fine at right tackle. And, don't fix what's not broke. So it's working well. Keep him there. We saw Goff play better with a clean pocket, and it's worked out, pretty well. So I give Sewell an A-. Any dude that could go head to head your rookie year with Aaron Donald, that just shows me you're a badass. It shows me that you can be a team leader. So Sewell, he earned an A- for me. Nick, lead us off.
I went with an A. Give me an A for him. Played 100% of the offensive snaps in every single game but one. 5 false starts. Got to buckle that down. Only 2 holding penalties all year. Had 5 sacks allowed. However, 4 of them came in week 4 and week 5. 2 in Chicago, 2 versus Minnesota. He had last one in week 13 versus Minnesota. Only sacks he allowed all year. 35 pressures allowed. Tied for the second most for the Lions. Let me see what I got down here. 23 offensive tackles, finished with over 1,000 snaps. He ranks 12th out of all 23 with only 5 sacks allowed. Right, he's what is it? Here we go. Where's the best one here? Second in the league. I had to find it just to refresh my memory. I tweeted it out earlier, and we love it. And pancakes. Get your maple syrup out, because Penei will be freaking pancaking everyone. It is nuts. I love it. Second in NFL in pancakes with 11 out of all offensive tackles. Well done. He'll be our right tackle for the next 20 years, and I'm so excited.
That's cool. I did not know he was second in pancakes, so
I like a good waffle, but dang, pancakes taste a little better.
Julius,
I gave him
round it off for us.
I gave him an A. I'm not going to go into a tangent, but the pancake stat is interesting because this pretty much he led the nation in his last year at Oregon in pancakes by like 12, next to number 2. So this might be something he developed to. We're about to see him laying dudes out, man.
Like that.
He's just gonna get better at it. Yeah.
Yes, sir. All right. Let's head to our next and final rookie, Aleem McNeil. He did make the PFF rookie finalist, rookie award. I can't think of it.
PFF all rookie team.
All rookie team. I don't know why I couldn't think of that. But yes, he made that. And he looked pretty promising. He didn't have any games where he was just looked real bad. He did have a couple games where, he didn't look the best, but he showed promise. Had a couple sacks. Showed he can be that big body run stuffer, nose tackle dude. And honestly, one thing I would love to see, and part of me thinks it might happen, let's give him the ball at the 1 yard line, because this dude has a running back background in high school. He's comfortable with carrying the rock, and man, what better would it be to get a couple inches, 1 yard, than throwing big old 320-pound Aleem McNeil back there.
That would be great. Wait, what'd you grade him though?
I didn't even say my grade. B+. I gave Aleem solid B+.
I went with the C+. You said already named as one of the PFF's all rookie team. You like that. Outperformed the second rounder, same position that was drafted on the same team. Did have 2 sacks in the final 5 weeks. Finished the season with 3 quarterback hits, 1 pass deflection, and 3 tackle for the loss. I like that. Played in all the games. Also, I enjoy that. Started 6 of them. We didn't even see him light up the stat sheet, but honestly, he's not going to come in and be a stat sheet, guy. He's this guy that's going to be run blocking.
Yep.
And I didn't see him be a beast at that, but I did see some potential, and I did see he's got one of the highest motors on the team. The dude just goes and goes and goes, especially for a 300-pound nose tackle. The guy just keeps running. I love him for that. I give him a C+, and I'm super excited for the future for him.
I'm gonna give him a B, not a B+, not a B-, but a B. Aleem McNeil did show promise. I agree with you on that, but he didn't show Pro Bowl, big time promise. He didn't join the ranks. We didn't really have a defensive player on the level of Penei Sewell and Amon-Ra St. Brown, but I guess Aleem McNeil was the closest to that. So based on his production and his durability, seems like he's going to keep developing. Very hopeful for him, but I gave him a B.
Fair enough. Next man up, we have a player that might not be with us next year. I hope he is, and that's Sir Alex Alonso, Fabio, team captain was a great leader. It seemed like he wasn't the best fit for the first couple weeks, and then he really started to come around. Was making big plays, had a couple nice interceptions off of tip passes, but all in all, was just always getting to the ball, always getting involved. And honestly, I think he was a solid addition. I give him a quality B. So for me, Alonzo, I think a B is solid for him. What are you guys thinking? Am I too high, too low?
I went B minus. I liked him. Like you said, he did step up right after the Jamie Collins trade. After that, he really started to become the player that he is, the captain that he was, voted to be. He did have 15 missed tackles. That's disgusting. We have to clean that up. 1 sack, 1 interception, 7 pass deflections, 2 quarterbacks hits. His pass coverage was his highest point to me. Again, 7 pass deflections as a linebacker is phenomenal. And in 39 pass attempts towards Alex Anzalone, he held quarterbacks to a 74.4 passer rating, which is 6th best of all linebackers in the NFL. That's unbelievable. That's why we got to keep him. Great at pass coverage. B minus, if I didn't say that.
I like it. Julius?
I'm under the impression he's a little bit more expendable, but I did like his perseverance and his leadership, especially towards around the time early on in the season. Him and Jamie Collins were both getting ate alive on Twitter by their performances. Baltimore, at the Baltimore game, I remember there was some flack on him, but he kept it going. Jamie Collins kind of quit on us, but Alex Anzalone didn't. So for that alone, I get a guy B minus.
Let's talk one more defensive lineman / linebacker, whatever. Charles Harris. He was a solid free agent addition. I mentioned a couple stats earlier, but I'll repeat them. Had 7.5 sacks, 16 quarterback hits, 65 tackles, 35 solo. And the thing I love the most is in his first 4 years, he only had 6.5 sacks. So I don't know what the Detroit Lions did, but we brought out something that the Falcons or anyone couldn't remotely bring out. So he had more sacks than he did his first 4 years, which is saying something. Was one of 4 players that had 7 sacks and 2 forced fumbles. So Charles Harris, he got a B+ for me.
Dang, I did not know that. That's outstanding. He got a B for me. And you literally said Harris had 6.5 sacks in 4 seasons in the NFL, finished 2021 with 7.5 sacks. Outstanding. Harris had 61 tackles his first 3 seasons in the NFL, playing 41 games. He had 65 this season. That's awesome. Yeah. Didn't play week 1. From weeks 2 to 5, 4 straight weeks, he had a sack. Finished with the team leading, 7.5 sacks. Signed on a 1-year contract. Great sign, which is another reason Brad Holmes got a higher grade. Charles Harris gets a B for me. I love him.
Yeah, definitely probably our best free agency signing, I'd say. Julius, what are you feeling for Charles Harris?
I'm feeling a solid A- with Charles Harris based on what he did, on what his contract expected him to do. He pretty much revived his career in Detroit, so I wouldn't mind keeping him, but I think that it can get a little crowded if we plan on drafting one of the top pass rush guys and we plan on keeping both Okwars. Might be a little much. So we're going to have to make a decision. And so as much as I wouldn't want to see Charles Harris go, I do understand that the situation would come where we wouldn't able to re-sign him. We want to go elsewhere, or his price is just outside of what we're looking for.
I'd love to give him a solid 1 year with a lucrative incentive-based deal in which, Romeo Okwara might give him some time to ease back in all the time he needs and let Charles Harris, just be that guy. And then obviously Thibodeau or Hutchinson would, be the other rookie or other end, and what I'm saying. But next guy up, we have a few more left, and that's Amani O. Really stepped up big time for Jeff Okudah. He honestly should have made the Pro Bowl. Personally, I think he's better than Trevon Diggs. And at first, you might be thinking, oh, you're crazy. No, Diggs has had 11 interceptions. This dude's crazy. But Diggs is kind of like a hit or miss type guy in which he got burned a lot in that 49ers game. And a lot of people saw what type of cornerback he actually could be when he's not getting all those interceptions. And for me, I want a guy that stays locked down more times than not. Amanio had 6 interceptions, I believe, third most in the NFL, was very clutch, had a lot of clutch interceptions. They weren't just, fluky ones or like pointless ones. One of them was to set up, I believe, a game-winning touchdown. It's the one he jumped. I think it was the Kirk Cousins interception he threw. He jumped the pass, rolled on the ground, got up, and almost returned it for a touchdown, but ultimately got down to 5 and led to a Lions touchdown. But Amani O, phenomenal season. I'm going a solid A for him.
I went high B+. Held quarterbacks to a 74.1 passer rating, 10th best in the NFL out of all defenders who faced at least 75-plus pass attempts, which is outstanding. Along with the Anzalone 74, man, as long as they throw it to those two guys, they'll never catch the ball. It's great. Third in the league with 6 picks. First 2 years combined had 10 pass deflections. This year had 11. First 2 years combined had 3 interceptions. This year had 6. Career high with 57 tackles and 2 tackle for losses. Got his first ever fumble recovery. Matched up with the best. But as you said with Trayvon Diggs, also did get burned a few times. Needs to not do that as often. But the dude was great. Got snubbed in the Pro Bowl. B+.
Julius, you A range or B range?
I am in more the A range with Amani O, and I think next year is going to be the year that he breaks out as long as he stays healthy. It looks like he can. There's something he's capable of doing, but he is one of the main players on the team I saw the most improvement from last year to this year, and I have the most hope for him to improve going into next year. A.
Yeah, it's nice that Amanio and the next guy I'm about to mention really took a lot of, pressure, weight off Lions fans' shoulders with the whole Jeff Okudah injury. Kind of allowed us all to forget about him in a sense. And now we're just kind of playing with house money with Okudah, which seems bad, but ultimately it'll work out. And so our next guy up, Jerry Jacobs. He was a dude that might have not been discovered as much as he should have been or as early as he should have been if Jeff Okudah was healthy for the entire season. So Jacobs was one of the little things we got out of it. For me, I'm going A- for him. He was absolutely phenomenal from what he was as an undrafted dude coming out of like nowhere to becoming a legit lockdown-ish type quarterback that can, hang with solid guys. I was impressed. He hung with Jamar Chase for that pretty much entire first half. Chase had one solid catch, and it was right towards the end of the second half. But Jerry Jacobs had a phenomenal game against him. Ultimately, the injury sucked at the end of the year, but it's an ACL. I don't think, like I've mentioned in previous podcasts, I don't think there's an injury that's a death sentence now, and ACL injuries are becoming a lot more easier to come back from. We've seen what Cam Akers has done with Achilles and what tons of other players have come back from ACL injuries. So I'm still hopeful for him. So A- for me.
I'll go with an A over here. Undrafted from Arkansas State and Arkansas. His last 2 seasons of college, he had 33 tackles. In 13 games in the NFL, 34. All 3 years of college, he finished with 10 pass deflections. 13 games in the NFL, he had 7. 1 forced fumble, 1 fumble recovery, 1 quarterback hit, 3 tackle for losses. The kid's 24 years old, only allowed 1 touchdown all year. He blitzed once. He knocked the quarterback down once. Quarterbacks had a 59% 59% completion percentage when they threw his way. That is shut down material. I don't care where you were drafted. When you weren't drafted, that's shut down. That's Island-esque. Pair him with Amanio and a full offseason. I'm excited. I wish he would be back for the offseason. He probably won't be back until September, maybe a little bit earlier than that, which is going to kind of hurt him coming back. But hopefully by then, Okudah's really coming back, and he'll just be able to be a plug-and-play with A.J. Parker. Just a dive it in the rough. Great player. A.
I like it. I like it. Julius.
Jacob's Island. I'm all for Jacob's Island, and he gets an A in my book. Undrafted gem. Shout out to Brad Holmes. That's why I gave Brad Holmes such a high grade from picking up a player like him. I'm sure he'll bounce back from his injury, and great to have Jacob Island.
And then not to mention, the dude's an awesome, personality for the fans. He gets involved with everything. He's done, signed jersey giveaways, followed fans back. So he's just been a great dude, great team player for the team chemistry, for the culture, all that good stuff. So Jerry Jacobs, love to have it. So let's round this up. Final guy, Tracy Walker. He only had one interception, but it was the game-sealing interception against Green Bay. So it was a very important one and was a good one, in which he won, I think, Player of the Week, or was co-Player of the Week, something like that, the last week of the year. So Tracy Walker showed he can be, a legit safety. Kind of showed it all season long. He honestly took probably a step forward, in which, he was probably played some of his best ball this year. All in all, I'm giving Tracy Walker a B.
I followed suit with a B. I've been waiting for Tracy Walker to come out. Led the team in tackles with 108. Second year in his career that he had over 100 tackles. Got his third career interception. Got his second career sack. Like you said, the interception this year was a game-winning one. So I gave him a B as well. He's going to be gone probably after this year. We are not going to see him return if I had to bet any money. So thank you, Tracy Walker. You really didn't do much, but you got a B from me. I'm glad I don't really have to talk about you anymore on my podcast. Unless you resign, then I'm very happy to have you back.
Fair enough.
The 3 Bs, because I'm throwing a B in there for him as well. He was above average at various moments of the season, average at other times. Pretty much, I don't think we should pay him a lot of money if that's what he's asking for. He should look forward elsewhere. But I give him a B because he was pretty consistent. He was the leader of our defense, to be honest. So I think he did well enough. He's been well enough. He hasn't got past well enough, but he's well enough. So B.
I like it, boys. That does it. That's just about not every player, but that's the good ones, at least I should say.
The ones worth noting.
Hopefully next year we'll just have to grade the entire team because they're all just kicking ass. So for
Right.
all players, whoever listens to this podcast, if you didn't hear your name, make sure you hear it next year. As always, check us out on Twitter at Honolulu Blues _. Check me out on Twitter at EverydayFFB. Check out Nick on Twitter at NickFavorNFL. Check out Julius on Twitter at The Fifth Top.
We need to get better at that.
I know, it's weird.
We'll work on it.
Throws you off. And also, big news. We are on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, so you don't have to head on to YouTube to listen to us now. You can flip open the podcast app, the Spotify app, listen to that, download us. Make sure you give us a 5-star review, and if you have some comments or feedback, negative or positive, drop it. Feel free to give us your reviews. We love it all. But as always, go Lions.
Go Lions.